Ah, Bohemia. Such a beautiful, lovely looking country. Countryside is gorgeous. Castle off in the distance. Nice little chapel with a graveyard. Oh, what a lovely little country. Welcome to the Tinto Flavour of Bohemia. And let us get into the actual topic, which is, of course, not Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Welcome to Tinto Flavour for Bohemia. Today we are, of course, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one because Bohemia is one of my favourite countries in EU4. It was, in fact, the second country I ever played in EU4. The first, of course, being England, back when they started at war with France and I beat my head against a wall until I actually managed to win the 100 Years' War. That took a few restarts. And then as soon as I won the war, I didn't like the state of my country, so I quit and started a new campaign, and I started as Bohemia. I have no idea how that game went. I have no memory, other than I know that I called the save file Holy Roman Rhapsody, because I like Queen, and Bohemian Rhapsody is one of their, most popular songs, and it made sense at the time. It probably still makes sense. That's probably what I'm going to call my save file when I play Bohemia in EU5. So how about we learn a bit about Bohemia in EU5 and see what Paradox Tinto have got cooking up for us here. Hello and welcome one more week to Tinto Flavour, the Happy Friday where we take a look at the content of the new super secret Project Caesar. Today I'll be travelling to the Kingdom of Bohemia, a charming place that is worth setting video games in. True and factual. Charles IV, Kingdom of Bohemia, and Holy Roman Emperor had a strong, long and successful reign. I love the references. Love the references. The lands of Bohemia are a territory inhabited by Slavs. I was not aware that Czech was a Slavic culture. I'm not gonna lie, that one was... I didn't know that. If that's true, fair enough. Just, I guess, my own ignorance there. In the heart of Germanic Holy Roman Empire. After a long period under the Premuslid dynasty, again, I have no idea what, the R with the hat on, I don't know if that is pronounced differently, but either way. The current Luxembourg rulers have may tighten the ties the country has with the empire, although King Johann the Blind de Luxembourg is far more Freudian than German, having been educated in the royal court of Paris. Keeping both the nobility and the common folk satisfied under a foreign king and navigating the political intricacies of the Holy Roman Empire will prove a hurdle for anybody. Fortunately, Bohemia is a strong kingdom, but will it succeed in its ambitions? We will, of course, find out. Here we have King Johann. It is, work in progress on the UI, 2D and 3D art, so bear that in mind when critique is given towards your fella. Although I will say they are getting better. Certainly they are, I don't know how, but they are fitting in more with the background, let's say, which is, one of the big issues I think I have with it is just how disconnected they have felt in the past. But anyway, here we have the lands of Bohemia, Moravia, and Silesia. Of course, they all start as vassals of one kind or another to Bohemia. And obviously, we start at war with Poland, and that is what this red line here is as well, which is, I really like that they're showing this on the diplomatic map mode. That is a really cool idea. You may notice some location and country changes, more about that at the end of the post. Fair enough. Bohemia has a very interesting diplomatic situation. We're rivaled with Bavaria. Enemies, which is when countries that have chosen our country as a rival, have also rivaled us. Fair enough. We're at war with the Lithuanians, the big old Lithuania, Poland versus Teutons and Bohemia war that starts the game. We have embargoes. We have our subjects. So Moravia and a bunch of Silesians and 14 more Silesians. And then our alliances there at the bottom, we are allied with the bloody Teutonic Order, and I don't recall what country that is. Lower Bavaria? Is that Lower Bavaria? It looks like it's probably Lower Bavaria. It must be, because we're allied there. Clear review of using the diplomatic map mode. Johann the Blind is the Count of Luxembourg, so that's why we have Luxembourg in a... not in a, but we are in a personal union with Luxembourg. He's inherited and main title, King of Bohemia, after his marriage with Elizabeth Premeslid, the last princess of that dynasty, and Duke of Wroclaw and Overlord of Silesia after his agreement with King Casimir of Poland on the Treaty of Trenčín in 1335. His heir is his son Charles. I wonder if that is the Charles IV. I don't know. That would be cool if it was. Who rules over Moravia. He also noticed that Lower Bavaria is your ally and all the countries involved in the ongoing Teutonic Polish War. As usual, take the map as work in progress. We've already internally discussed that the colouring needs to be improved to portray better the diplomatic situation shown above. I think the thing I would change in this is the colour for your ally in a war and the colour for your vassals in a war probably should be different. Maybe make this a more teal style of green. That would be an idea. But certainly I think there should be some difference there. Bohemia starts with a unique government reform, the Bohemian Commonwealth, giving an extra culture capacity, accepting cultures is cheaper, and you get an extra cabinet seat. Very nice. Commonwealth represents a reforged constitution of the realm, giving away more privileges and freedom to the various nations living within our borders. We also have a couple of unique estate privileges. The inaugural diplomas were granted by King Jehan in 1311 after he acceded to the throne, giving less taxes from the nobles and less levies from the nobles. In a bid to forge strong ties with the nobility, we have granted them a series of benefits under the agreement of the inaugural diplomas. Among the concessions are the reduced levy obligations to the crown and the right to reduced taxation. While Ius Teutonicum is a privilege for the commoners, represents the German settlements across the country. So we get less noble estate satisfaction, less taxes from the peasants' estate, but the levy size for our non-culture pops is 20% higher. Very nice. Since the times of the eastern marches of the Carolingian Empire, German peoples have been expanding and settling further east. Known as Ostsiedlung, a bit of a charged term nowadays, this influx of German settlers was often encouraged by the local rulers to fill sparsely populated areas. These settlers are subjugated to a special type of law, the Ius Teutonicum, offering them special privileges like the exemption from taxes and the right of establishing self-governing towns. Privilege can be coupled with the in-fight German settlers that we mentioned in Tinto Flavour number 1, making for a strong combination if you want to grow the population of your country. As a side note, the Parliament of Bohemia has a special flavour name that was added following the feedback on Tinto Talks number 41. So now we have Kol Zemski Snem. Again, I have no idea how that's pronounced. A Y with an accent, an E with a hat, I don't know, and I apologise. Let's take a look at some of the unique advances for Bohemia now. The first unlocks a unique unit, the Wagenburg, the wagon forts. Very cool. During the Hussite Wars, our armies relied on wagon forts, which would allow us to win battles we should have lost. Although we may not always use wagons, using infantry sharpshooters from defensive positions would become the tactic of choice for our ever-invincible Czech armies. Very cool. We have the Wagenburg here with its stats. I think the biggest difference here between this and what we've seen previously for auxiliary units, because we saw some in Tinto Talk 23, if I recall correctly. Yeah, here with the Camp Followers auxiliary unit. This one has 6 food storage, whereas the Wagenburg has 18. And also the, where is it? The morale damage and strength damage taken, 5% each versus 25% each. Combat power is still the same though, so they're not going to do too much damage, but they're going to last longer, I guess. During the Hussite Wars, our armies relied on wagon forts, which allow us to win battles which are lost. Okay, did I read that already? I did read that already, my bad. We also had advances for later ages, such as the famous Bohemian Crystal in the Age of Discovery, or Bohemian Thaler in the Age of Reformation. This Bohemian Crystal gives you monthly prestige and glass output. Few workshops around the known world have the capacity to craft glass and crystal with the quality and clarity necessary to rival our production. And the Bohemian Thaler gives you an extra bit of income from minting, which helps because you have probably a bunch of silver mines. For years, the standard currency in our country has been the groschen, a coin made of silver and used all throughout the Holy Roman Empire. The discovery of new sources of silver allows us to create another kind of bigger coin, the thaler, also called toller or dollar, which is, in fact, where the term dollar comes from, originally. That's kind of cool. Which will become strong and influential, you don't say, to dominate all trade and become a new standard in the whole ass world. Let's take a look now at the narrative content for Bohemia, because it's very interesting. The main historical event of the period is probably the Hussite Wars, which we're representing with a situation. A series of conflicts between the followers of Hussitism and Catholicism quickly escalated into full-blown war for the very identity of the country itself. It'll trigger around 1400, with the event initializing it being Jan Zalewski's congregation. Is this Jan Hus? Zalewski? Hus? Is it that the same? I feel like it might be the same. Angered crowds led by Jan Zalewski had flooded the streets of Prague, petitioning for expanded rights and the absolution of several Hussite prisoners by the city's council. Unfortunately, the judge and his entourage have declined the demands of the protesters, leading to erupting violence in a vicious cycle of reforms being stalled and mob uprisings. Perhaps it's time we break the cycle. Death to Catholicism is the historical option, or you can choose to not. Two options here. So death to Catholicism gives us converting to Hussitism religion. Many popes in the area will convert, which is cool. The event Hussite protests in Prague happens for the Papal States. We gain influence over the Curia. I imagine Hussitism must have its own Curia then, because you're leaving Catholicism and yet getting influence over the Curia does not seem like it fits together. And then we also gain in defense of Hussitism for 3 years. Whatever that is. The other option, it'll prevent the Hussite War situation, but we'll still have people converting. Every pop will muster their strength and support for the Hussite rebellion. The clergy will lose satisfaction, we'll lose stability and legitimacy, and we'll gain civil war looming for 10 years. Damn. If the player selects the first, Bohemia will convert to Hussitism, and you'll go to war with Gera and one of the... I think this is the other Bavaria, I imagine. I don't know. But anyway, Hussitism. It is part of the Christianity religion group. Auxiliary maintenance cost minus 25%. Monthly religious influence plus 0.1. Pops promote and convert faster. That is a cool thing for your religion. Damn. We have no idea what Catholicism gives, of course, so take that as a, with a grain of salt, but that is cool. Enables church power, and we currently have not conceived of it. There are 90,000 Hussite pops in the world. If 90,000 Hussite pops are going to be joining the Hussite rebellion, every pop that follows Hussitism will muster their strength and support the Hussite rebellion, and 90,000 of them, that's going to be a heavy rebellion. Founded by Jan Hus, the Hussite Church emerged as a proto-Protestant movement in Bohemia, blending elements of the Byzantine Rite with the teachings of John Wycliffe. It emphasized communion under both kinds and the importance of scripture over church tradition. Jan Hus will be a character appearing in the game and founding the religion. We'll talk about him in the future Tinto Flavour, devoted to another situation, the Western Schism. Very cool, looking forward to that. Probably be able to declare a crusade to restore Catholicism in Bohemia with a follow-up event, and the Hussite Wars will start after this. Very cool. So we have Pope Benedictus XII, who is 115 years old. I think this was maybe a war that was started with a console. Like the date was changed with the console, and then the Hussite Wars were fired with the console. Because I think this is probably the ruler that the Papal States start with, and he's gonna die tomorrow if he unpauses the game. Because yeah, not sure about that one, son. Jan is 68, and he's got awful stats, like just truly dog water stats. Hopefully that is not final and something has happened there. So our actions: we can force conversions, demand donations from nobles, pastors, and burghers. We can prepare the defenses, align with the moderates, or align with the radicals. And yeah, no defenders of Rome and lots of defenders of Bohemia, including the Teutonic Order. So that's why the strength is so heavily different there. You trigger the situation with the console. Yeah, called it. So we obviously have some weird behaviors here with the countries, call to arms, the leaders, etc. Please take the panel as a template of how the situation will look when triggered organically in regular gameplay. That's fair enough. Speaking of the template, I think it does look good. I'm not a massive fan of the kind of grayish brown background here. It doesn't feel natural, but the rest of it I think looks really, really good. I think it looks really good. And I really want to see this art. I want to see this art in the background here a lot, because it looks awesome. and I believe it is art specifically of the Hussite rebellion, because we've got the wagon forts, we've got the Hussite like chalice symbol. So yeah, that I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Apart from the side of the situation, defender of Rome and defenders of Bohemia and their respective leaders, there are a few actions that can be performed by Bohemia through the situation. So we can force conversions. External pressure upon us from heretic foes cannot go unanswered. We must defend our Hussite traditions and faith by enforcing strict discipline and practices across the kingdom. So we click a button that costs 10 thing. I guess we'll find out what the thing is, hopefully, at some point soon. And designated province will gain heretic conversion efforts for 10 years. Prepare the defences. The hordes of Catholicism will soon ravage our lands in their mad quest for religious dominance. Be wise for us to ensure each province is protected by sturdy defences. Every location in the designated province will gain prepared defences, and if possible, a castle will be constructed in the provincial capital for minus 90% of the base cost. That's awesome. And we change societal values by 20 towards defensive, and it's currently at 40, so going to 60. It's kind of cool. And it's going there monthly towards defensive as well. Also costs 10 thing. Aligning with the moderates, the way of diplomacy and tolerance will surely attract a more sympathetic view towards our cause, even from countries that bend the knee to Catholicism. So we gain opinion with Austria, Lusatia, and Landsberg, and our neighbour country will be less likely to join the war against us. Seems like a good idea to click this one, not gonna lie. Aligning with the radicals, however, makes them all lose opinion, including Lower Bavaria and the Palatinate. We're alone against a sea of heretics, their gnawing jaws hungrily at the edges of our territory. People must brace themselves and adopt a policy of no tolerance and zealotry towards our enemies. And then promoted radicals, I guess, is going to have to give you some buff to counteract how awful that looks. So, the currency you have to pay to perform these actions is called religious influence. Okay, so that's what that is. Cool. Talk more about it in the future Tinto Talks devoted to Catholic and Protestant religions. Looking forward to that as well. More content and events will trigger during the situation. And finally, these are the conditions that may end the situation, either with a Catholic or Hussite victory. So, Catholics win if Bohemia is Catholic. Good job, buddy. Hussite victory. The situation has been active for 30 years. Currently, 2 months have passed. They need to be at peace, and religion needs to be Hussite. 30 years is subject to balance as usual. Fair enough. Take a look at some of the Bohemian dynamic historical events. Maestas Carolina is an event that unlocks a unique policy of the same name for the legal code law. The first option is if the first option is selected. For centuries, members of the nobility have exercised nigh unrestricted authority over their local domain. It's led to many of them oftentimes disputing the authority of the crown. A very perilous notion and a dangerous precedent has been set. Many advisors within our ranks have suggested the drafting of a set of articles aimed at curbing the powers of prominent figures of the nobility within our lands. However, this might prove to be quite destabilizing. Yeah, so we have like the League of Lords thing. I imagine this is what is going to fire all that situation. So our nobility lose satisfaction, will lose stability, but we will gain progress to centralization. Nobles will be less happy there. Nobles will be a lot less powerful. Distance to capital minus 10% is actually really nice. Code enable entails the passing of noble property to the state in certain circumstances, as well as limiting the arbitrary powers of the nobility throughout the realm. Awesome. There'll be an option to found a university in Prague. Our ruler, King Jehan, this is his dynasty thing. I feel like if you... This could be like shifted over to the side, right? It doesn't need to be on top of the dude. The spread of knowledge is a vital pursuit if we are to count ourselves among the world's most enlightened and educated folk. The conduct of academic learning, the vibrant rooms of a new university, and the dissemination of wisdom have become our elite's most sought-after pursuits as of late, culminating in demands to construct a university in an effort to house and cultivate the next generation of bright minds. So we start a university in Prague. It'll cost 500 groschen. We'll change societal values by plus 20 towards innovative. Currently it's 20 towards traditionalist. And they'll gain 10 research progress. That's cool. I like that. The Crown of Bohemia. We can also sponsor an artist to craft a new fancy crown. Cool. With the new crown of St. Wenceslas upon the head of our king, and the lands of Bohemia, Moravia, and Silesia under our control, the Kingdom of Bohemia has firmly established itself as a powerful monarchy in Europe. An idea has been brought to the king to associate our lands to the crown of Saint Wenceslas, and for them to be known as the crown of the Kingdom of Bohemia. Awesome. Gain 5 prestige, and you change your name to the crown of Bohemia. The Crown of St. Wenceslas is a work of art made by Joseph Wacker. It is a great quality. It's regalia created in 1339, and its origin is in Prague. Gold crown, highly decorated with various precious stones, including sapphires and emeralds. It serves as a symbol of the rulership of Bohemia. You may notice the King Jehan wears a fancy new crown compared to the previous event. The name of the country will also change to Crown of Bohemia, and the Crown of St. Wenceslas will be created as regalia work of art. So here's the crown, and the previous crown is it's just a hat. I guess that works. Fair enough. Last but not least, I think I might be willing to get a cold beer after this Tinto Flavour. Liquid Delight. The town of Plzen and are avid enjoyers of cold beer after a long day of work. So much so that many have taken to crafting their own brews at home, with breweries becoming ever more present across both rural and urban environments. It seems that for every house in the city there exists a different brew. Where there is a thirst to be quenched, there may be coin to be made. As such, many prominent members of the burghers have come forth with a proposal to establish a steady production of beer, so that locally produced beer there can be known everywhere. Make it so, forget alcohol, and go back to work. Cool. Brewery in Plzen, we get a brewery, which I don't know what does, but it requires masonry and lumber. Pivo Prosim, I guess that's something we've seen before somewhere, or it's a common saying maybe in Czech. Anyway, much more content will be available for Bohemia, but that's all for today. Won't be available for the replies, but the fellow co-worker Roger Coromines will be replying instead of him. For next week, they'll have the HRE Tinto Maps feedback on Monday. Looking forward to that for sure. And the next Tinto Flavour will be of Bavaria. Awesome. Okay, what do I think of Bohemia? It is once again going to be one of my first campaigns in EU5. Won't be the very first, but it is definitely going to be something I play very, very early on because I just love the country. I think it is awesome, and also I'm kind of obsessed with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 right now, so it just fits my vibe. I'd love to know what you guys think, though. Let me know in the comment section below, and also if you're playing Kingdom Come, just let me know that too, because why not? I am now gonna probably go play more Kingdom Come Deliverance. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Monday for the Tinto bloody Maps HRE review. That's gonna be kind of huge. I'll see you then. Toodaloo. Bye bye.